Hi everyone, it's Shell with Little Acres Creations, and today we are making a 3D interactive card. So this is so fun and it's so simple. So let me show you what we're going to do. First thing you need is you need 7 of these squares, and these are 3 by 3 inch squares. So we're just going to use those. So this is going to be a bouquet of sunflowers, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so when you have your 3-inch squares, you just want to go ahead and fold them. You're going to fold them in half, corner to corner. Then you're going to come back, take the bottom corner, and fold it to the top. And I'm just using a little bone folder. This kind of helps me get a really good fold. And then we're going to do that one more time. So, and you want to do that 7 times. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do that 7 more times. So I've got 5. Did a few a little bit earlier. Again, you're just going to do corner to corner, bottom corner to top corner on the fold. And then one more time. And just kind of, they don't have to be lined up perfectly, especially to start with, because we're going to cut quite a bit of that off. And I just need one more, so you're going to do corner to corner. The third one. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to kind of doodle a shape that will look like a sunflower. So in order to do that, you just want to find the tip that has all the folds. Okay, so now you're just going to draw a little shape, and I just come in about 3/4 of an inch and just kind of go in like this. Just kind of draw a little petal. And you may have to do this, you know, just a few times to kind of get an idea of what you want. What I did is I just came from the tip here, kind of draw it straight out, and then draw it straight down. So it's kind of like a diamond shape. And, you know, when I was coming up with this, we had to do quite a few shapes to get, you know, the exact shape that we wanted. Okay, so then we're just going to cut this out. And just cut off the tips around the thing. You don't want to, make sure you're cutting on, you know, away from the fold. And then you can open it up and just kind of look at it and see if that's exactly what you want. You know, you may have to do this a few times to get the fold that you want. And that looks pretty good. So now that you have your template, your idea, I'm going to kind of just make sure I have just a little bit smoother edges. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this and match it up. You just want to match it up the same way and cut it using this as my pattern. So you really only need one, you know, for your pattern. And then we can just do all 7 of those like that. And this is really fun. Now when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you use the right paper. So I have discovered that, you know, like copy paper is too thin, but cardstock is too thick. So you kind of want something in between. It just kind of helps to make the flowers at the end just pop the way that they need to. And I'm still in the house, so you might hear cats and my lighting might still be off, but you know, it's better than being like in a 30-degree studio. So I'm waiting anxiously for spring. Okay, so let me kind of move all those out of the way. And I put some tape on the table just so I could make sure pretty much that I stay in frame. Because I don't have all the stuff that I need, you know, to make sure that I'm in the frame. Okay, so now we're just going to open this up. And here we're going to do some ink blending. So all of them are going to be the same. So I'm just going to kind of run through, you know, what I'm doing. The wrong one. Okay, and I'm using some wild honey. Again, these are going to be sunflowers. I don't know if I've said that yet. These are going to be sunflowers. And we're just going to kind of enhance them a little bit. So I'm using some wild honey distress ink. And I'm just going all over my image. And this will just give me a lot more to work with. This will give me a little bit of depth and just, you know, what kind of show the flowers what they are. So I'm going to do that with every one of them. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over, and I'm just going to hit the tips of it, because when we put that together, if you have white, it's just too stark, and it really shows out pretty well. So I decided that I would hit all the tips too. Okay, so I'm going to do all those, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have them all done. Now I am using the same color ink, and I'm just using a scrap sheet of paper, and I'm kind of going in just to add a little bit of veins to the flower petals. So see how I did that? So I have I have shading like on one side. So I'm going to do that to all of them. I already got a few of them done. And you could totally skip this if you don't want to put this much time into it. I really liked the look. So I just went ahead and went with it, and you know, it just kind of adds another bit of depth to our card. Put away the wild honey, and I'm going to come back because I have all my petals done. And I'm going to grab my walnut stain. Okay. And a template that I made. Now I just cut this out of just a sheet of paper that I had, and it's just a 1 1/4 inch hole punch. So I'm just going to come back in here, just kind of aim for the center. I just kind of eyeball it. You could, you know, maybe measure it if you wanted to. I'm not that big into measuring. So, and then we're just going to put some brown in the center so it looks more like a sunflower. So I'm going to do all those. So now we're going to come back. We're going to cut out one petal. It doesn't really, you know, matter which one, but you just want one. Now, when you cut these out, you want to make sure you save these because we're going to still use those. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Just using some wax paper that I had in my kitchen. Flip it over. That way I don't get distress ink everywhere. So, and I'm just using some art glitter glue. You can use any kind of glue for this. I'll probably use dry glue, but I really like the wet glue just to make sure that it's, you know, really secure. I'm going to put it on one side, the one that I cut out, I'm putting it on one side, and I'll fold the other one on that. So I'm going to do that to each and every one. Just fold it across. I don't know if you guys can see that. And you just want to make sure that it's well glued. And then you just want to, you know, go through, fold all 3 of those folds. There's 3 of them. And make sure that you have a good score. Okay, and I'm going to do that one more time so you can see, and then I'll go away and do that real quick. Just fold that over, cover it, make sure it's well glued, and then just kind of brandish those little lines just to make sure when we put this together it will fold nicely. Okay, and I'll go away and do that to the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our 7 that we're ready for. Now you want to take one of them. See, mine don't line up perfectly, and I'm okay with that. You want to go ahead and take one. I'm going to just mark it so you know which ones to put the glue on. And with the glue, you just want it at the very tip. You don't want it all over your petal. So I put 2 things of glue. I'm going to just kind of make sure that this one matches up. And it's not that one, it's this one. I have learned that, you know, doing this design, you kind of need to maybe flip your flower if it's not correct, if it doesn't line up with the one that you're putting the glue on. Okay, so now you have 3. You want to make sure your petals are pointing outwards. Now you're going to come back and you're going to put glue on these 3, and we're going to put another one on top of that. So I have 2 that I'm not using, so 3 in the center. Just enough glue, and if you wanted to, you could kind of, you know, spread it out just so it's on the tip. Kind of line up your little flower part and just make sure that it's okay. Now we're going to skip the middle one, so you go to the other ones. You're going to do, and you're going to skip the outer one. So you're going to do one here for glue, and then you're going to skip that one here, one here. And then we're just going to just line them up going outwards like this. Now some of your glue might go underneath, and I'll show you how to, you know, work around that. Because mine kind of, you know, glue the petals together. You just need to know which ones and how to take it apart and stuff. And then to finish it up, we're just going to put it on the 3 center ones, the ones that we used before. And just line it up, make sure it's all correct there. There we go. Now this is the main element, you know, of the card. And it's really, you know, just a fun little element. So you have this big design here. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to press it down for just a little bit just to make sure my glue is dry. And I am using that art glitter glue, so it does dry pretty quick. So if you wanted to, you could, you know, stick it under something heavy, walk away for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, so you're going to take these 2, or this petal right here, and then this petal on the bottom, and then you're just going to pull, and we're going to put that inside our card. So that's what we're looking at when we open our card. Okay, so now let's put our card together. So it doesn't take all that long, and it's going to be a huge surprise, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so now what I have, let me wash my hands because, well, you know what? I'm going to have to do some more ink blending. So let me grab my cards. I'm just going to use the ones that I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending. I'm going to flip my page back over, and I'm going to use a white card base. So I want to make sure that I don't touch that right now because I don't want, you know, color all over my card base. Okay, so I went back to the walnut stain. This is the outside of my card, and I'm just putting some distress ink all the way around it. we're doing on the front cover. I'm going to switch to a blue. And what I did is, you know, I'm using an A2 card base. Here it is right here. And I just cut down some pattern paper. And this will go on the inside of my card. So our sunflower element will be on the inside with this. So I'm using some faded jeans. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the outside just to give it a little bit of distress look, a little bit of depth and interest. Remember those called petals that we cut off? Well, here they are. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 of them. I'm going to come back with my brown, which is again that maple walnut stain. I'm just going to just get the edges of that. Now this will give me a little bit of depth, and I'll show you what we're going to do with this. This is going to go on the front of our card. Oh, and while I have all this out, we're going to do some leaves, because I want to add a few leaves to the inside panel. So I just cut out a few leaves, and I just did one as a pattern, and then I'm coming back and I just made as many leaves as you want. I'm going to bring in that brown again, the walnut stain. Just add a little depth and a little bit of color. Side. Here's some green that I had, and I just kind of cut out just a strip. I made me a template of my leaf, and then just fold it under, you know, fold a few pieces together, and this will give me 3 or 4. Put your leaf on there, your template, and then just cut it out. Your leaves. So that gives you extra leaves, and a sunflower leaf is kind of rugged anyway, so this is perfect. Okay, but before I put my distress inks away, I want to go ahead and stamp 2 of these butterflies. I might use both of them, and I may not. So this is the Fluttering By set from littleacrescreations.com. So you can pick that up there. So I'm just going to emboss these, because butterflies go so well with sunflowers. I thought that would just be really sweet. So let's get those embossed. So I'm just going to go back to my walnut stain, and that will give me a brown kind of edge on my back on my butterfly. And the distress ink stays really well, stays wet for just a little bit, so it'll give you a really good embossing. So just make sure that's real well covered. And I'm just going to stick my bigger butterfly on the other side, do the same thing. Okay, we have those now. Now I'm just going to let them sit just for a second, and then I'm going to trim those out. Okay, so now I'm just going to use some red and some orange, just to kind of, so it kind of blends in with my sunflowers, kind of just gives me a little bit of color. So now I'm getting all the ink off my fingers. well as I can. I'm going to flip over where I inked. That way my white card stays really nice and clean. And then we're just going to put it together now. So again, I'm just using my art glitter glue. And that first panel that we did, this is an A2 card base. So this one, 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to glue that down. And I do have my ATG gun. I'm going to use that for the inside. That way it just sticks down better, I think. And quicker. So I have my 2 pieces. They're cut down about the same size as the front was. So about 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, we're going to decorate the front by using our little panels, our little petals that we had. Now I found the easiest way to do these is just have a little square of paper, just about 1 inch by 1 inch square like this. And take your glue, I'm going to use art glitter glue, just so it gives me a little bit of time to kind of rearrange. And then just put glue on it. And then just stick my petals just in there. What I do is I just line up the middle. So just somewhat line up the middle of each petal. And if it overlaps a little bit, that's okay. And he's going on our flower. I have a little area right there. I'm going to go ahead and just trim that out. From the back. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to decorate it up. So I have a little bit of my green. I'm just going to just make a little stem. I don't like really straight stems. I like just a little bit of movement. So I'm just going to kind of position that, and since I forgot to ink blend it earlier, I'm just going to grab my ink blender and do it over here on the side, just to give it a little bit of depth and, you know, interest there. Okay, then we're going to position that and take that down. And then we'll pop down our sunflower. I don't have my foam tape inside, so instead of going outside, I'm just going to use some scraps. So all you have to do, if you don't, you know, if you need foam tape and you don't have it, just cut down a few squares as high as you want with your scraps. Probably do 4 or 5. And that'll give you the dimension you'd like. So you can always make do. Okay. And then we'll pop that underneath. That'll give me the dimension, and it'll set on there really well too. See, that works just perfectly. Okay, and so I went through my stash and I found just some like brown buttons, kind of wooden buttons. And I have this little twine. So I'm just going to wind it in, put it inside my button and tie that. That'll give us a little bit of decoration, and you know, I really like the mixed media stuff on my projects. So this is just another way to pull that in. Okay, before I put any more dimension on front, I'm going to do our inside element. So we have our little sunflowers. And what you want to do is you just want to line it up just a little bit away from the center fold. And you want to take your glue, and on the center part right here, you just want to just put a dab of glue. Go ahead and put one on, you know, on, you don't want to use too much glue and you don't want to glue it all down, but that'll help. Glue it on this side, and then flip it over and glue it on the other side. You just want to make sure it's pretty even. And then just make sure that's well pressed in there. And then when you open it, there's the prize. Isn't that awesome? It does take a little bit of time to do, but I just love this. I think it's so beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead. I think I'm going to use the bigger butterfly. And I'm just going to bend it at its center and just add that to the outside. You could certainly, in fact, I'll probably put the little one on the inside. My glue is dry. Okay. And let's just put him like right here. Glue him down, and since we have the other one, we'll pop him on the inside. Whoa. I think I'll just pop him up here. Isn't that beautiful? I love how it turned out. Okay, I almost forgot to put the leaves on, so let's go ahead and do that now real quick. And I'm just putting them just kind of all over. And then on the inside, you kind of have to pick and choose where you want them to go. So I'm putting them like in between, so when I fold it, you know, it won't bulk it up or mess up the mechanism. So I'm going to put one here. You might have to kind of close it just a little bit to see where you need it to go. And then I have one here. And then down here on the bottom. Here. And then again, you can put as many or as little as you'd like. Let's put one, let's see if that would work. Just put one here. I'm just going to put it on this single one right here. And then on this single leaf over here, kind of put it down further so my butterfly can be seen. And I think it's complete. What do you guys think? I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I hope you guys give this a try. I'd love to see what you create. Head on over to Little Acres Creations on Facebook and join us there and share your creations, see what everyone else is making. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.